parents sometimes worry about how their children will cooperate during a family photo session or a newborn session or a maternity session. Any photo session that they're in, there's a potential for kids to not want to cooperate for whatever reason. And I think the important part to remember is that this is normal. It isn't just your child. A lot of kids do this. They have a moment or a day where they're not feeling it. They aren't vibing with whatever's happening. So try to not, be too hard on yourself. That's the first thing I'll say, because that's always a concern of mine. Because once the child sees that it's affecting you, then that has a bigger effect on the session itself. So if you're in a session and your child is not cooperating how you had hoped, take a breath and then know that I've got your back. I do have some strategies for engaging children and keeping them engaged in the photo session. And I do have a very laid back approach when it comes to children and not forcing them to do anything. Not, you have to sit here and you have to look at me and you have to smile. That's not how I operate photo sessions with children, because I want them to know that this is a safe space. And if they need a break, they can have a break. Especially if they're holding their newborn baby brother or sister and they don't want to anymore, I have let them know ahead of time that the moment that you do not want to be doing this anymore, just say, "All done, Jen," and I will take the baby and you will get a break. So I never want to force a toddler to do something, or even an older kid to do something that they're not feeling comfortable with for whatever reason, because we don't know exactly what's going on, but they need a moment, just like adults do sometimes. So always I allow kids to take that moment if they need to, and then come back around to engaging them in the session, making it fun for them, playing little games, getting some candid moments in there, making it something that is pleasant to do rather than a chore for them to do. So talking with kids and getting to know them at the beginning of the session, I really feel helps. So that's the first thing I'll do when younger kids come in, is I will greet them, ask them their name, ask them to tell me about what they've been up to, and just start talking with them about things that interest them, cartoon characters that they like, books they're reading. And once we have that little relationship formed, that really goes a long way for them then focusing on the session and cooperating when I'm asking them to do a simple thing. So I like to keep it simple for that fact. I've built this little relationship, and then I can ask them to do simple things, and that usually works pretty well. And giving those breaks in between, if we are doing sibling photos and then family photos, to not stack all their photos back to back to back without giving them a break. I do offer the option for parents to bring in snacks for their kids. So sometimes that's what is necessary to get their mind back in the game, so to speak. A little snack can go a long way for that. And I do keep small toys and books and things. The one thing that I usually discourage is electronics, because it is harder to take away an electronic device than to take away a book or finish a snack. And things like books, the other thing about that is that it can be part of the session. Sometimes I'll say, "Okay, you're in the middle of the book, then come right over here and Dad can read the book to you," and we'll get a couple photos like that. And then when the book is done, then we can set it down and get a portrait. So there's definitely a lot of ways around working with kids that are a little bit shy or feeling a little uncooperative for whatever reason, and just knowing that happens sometimes, and then we'll get back to the photos that we've planned, as I know that's the goal, and do the best photos that we can during the session.